Welcome back, family. Today we're going to get into a subject which is somewhat conspiratorial. I don't really get into these conspiracy theory things. I do examine them, and I do like to watch them, but again, I take it with a grain of salt. Just as I advise you should take this information with a grain of salt. Process it and figure out whether or not there's any truth here. That's all up to you. But we're going to examine the idea that the music that is broadcast to us is sent or broadcasted at a particular frequency level, which has a particular detriment to us, which stunts our cognitive ability to think pragmatically, which is sensibly, rationally, without applying theories. And I gotta tell you, I've seen enough evidence to allow me to do this video and present it to you guys. Recently, Ice Cube has been going on different platforms talking about the gatekeepers that are there to funnel music, a particular type of music through, while banishing a music that might be a little more insightful, spiritual, or less damaging. So let's hear what Ice Cube had to say.
Could not agree more.
Yeah.
But you said it's being done to divide us. Okay, by who? Who's doing it?
Well, who benefits and profits off our bickering and our division? You know, it's like follow the money. I don't know their names, but if you follow the money, you go high enough, you start to see, okay, you know, this is an industry. Okay, let's take rap music.
Let's take it.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons. So,
Literally the same people?
literally the same people who own the labels own private prisons. So, you know, it seems really kind of suspicious, if you want to say that word, that, you know, the records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
But they didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't. Certain flavors are exposed on the record. You know, some records are made by committee. Meaning record company guys sit around and tell the artists, this is hot, say that, do this. You're gonna have this guy write the lyrics. You're gonna have that. So the narrative is really kind of, you know, structured and really made into what the record company want the record to be, and what the, you know, a lot of artists are frustrated with this kind of music making. You know, a lot of people, you know, feel like they're being controlled by the label. This is how they do it.
Couple things here. One, I don't believe in the idea that prisons should ever be in the hands of private owners, those looking to make a profit out of people being in jail. For years, I did not support Michael Jordan at all because the rumor was that he was heavily invested in private prisons. So as much as I love the sneakers, I didn't support him whatsoever because I'm strongly against the idea of this prison system, which to me is a means of slavery. Once again, if you have a prison that is there and a means of financial gains for people, then you're gonna have to drive bodies into that prison. And more than likely, the people who are gonna be in that prison populating it is people that look like me. So I didn't support Jordan at all. I dug and did some research and I couldn't find any links to Jordan being affiliated with things like this, although he still might be, but I couldn't prove it. So I started buying Jordans. So, secondly, the idea of record executives pushing artists a particular direction to make particular songs is 100% resonating with me all the way through, because it happened to me. Many years ago, when I was trying to get into the industry, making demos and such, we were invited by the record company that the artist Snow was on, the Canadian white guy who was making Jamaican music, and he had a slew of hits. Anyway, this record company, the name escapes, I believe the name might have been Motor Jam. Anyway, they invited us in for a meeting, presented us with a single deal for a song we had recorded, which was the most light-hearted record that we'd done. I still have it, and I'll play it for you in a second. But they invited us for a single deal for that song. When we came in, had the meeting, these guys weren't as professional as I thought that they should have been, but that's another story. Anyway, they invited us for a single deal for the song. The song was called Too Hot. But as soon as we agreed to that deal for that song, they advised us to make another song. A song which was a lot more current. At the time, Onyx had just came out. One of my favorite groups, by the way. But they had a song called Throw Your Guns, which was burning up the airwaves. They advised us to make a song to rival that one. And first time being in a situation like that, we caved in and did a song just like that. And I don't have copies of the songs today, which I would gladly pay for you if I did, but I don't have it. But that song didn't sit well with me because we weren't that kind of people. We were just dudes that like to get fly, dudes that like to get chicks. We weren't about shooting or drug dealing or any illegal activities. Not much of it anyway. So I was never comfortable with the idea of pushing that song out, so that deal fell apart. I'm saying that to say, from my own personal experience, I can identify with what Cube is saying as truth.
The brain processes information electrically. It communicates with the cellular structure electrically, and it operates within a certain band of frequency. If you can broadcast frequencies carrying information, this technology is long been known, carrying information and perceptions within the frequency that the brain decodes information, the brain will decode those frequencies and will have those perceptions. You can externally influence people's perceptions externally by broadcasting these frequencies that we interact with because we are antenna.
And then the algorithm, you know what I'm saying, the 808. The 808 exists in the lowest chakra of your body. The majority of content that's related to the 808 is killer or sexual content. The original 808s was even off pitch. So that meant it's an actual sound in the track that you don't realize is there that is fucking up your entire frequency. Right. And now, today, every time I hear a car coming out, it's 808. But if you think about African music and hip hop and movies, breakdance to, it was light.
The percussion.
It was upbeat. It was the drums.
What's the signature of trap music? Beats, drum beats, them 808s. Produce low frequency sound. Their signature is low frequency sound in that 808 drum beat. The low frequency drum beat. And remember, how do shamans create altered state of consciousness? In indigenous cultures, it's the drum beat. The drum is the tool to drive one into altered states of consciousness. So the 808 machine, the signature of hip hop. Right. the drum beat that most of the 808 beats are in low frequency. Trap music is 808, it resurrected 808 beats. Now the words are the command message. Right. The hypnotic command.
Now, as far as this conspiracy, I gotta tell you, there's evidence to support it. I can't speak on the whole frequency thing, but I do know the music that is being pushed is nothing but a detriment to our people. This drill music thing, where all they talk about is killing each other, running down the ops, things of that nature. And that's all that you hear, and every single one of these artists sound the same. I'm not being the old man hating on the young music. Some of it I really like. I actually really like Young Thug because he's a little more diverse. He has music at times which takes my brain to another place, and when I listen to music, that's what I like to hear. I like to hear people taking me somewhere I didn't imagine to be. But with this drill music stuff, all you get is killing and nothing but debauchery. I don't understand it, why it's so prevalent, why it's being promoted. Perhaps it's complementary to what is being presented here. There is a conspiracy to drive our people a certain direction, and the frequency that these things are broadcasted on, or they're to do just that. The scientific community have presented evidence that shows the human brain doesn't fully develop until at least the age of 25. Your frontal lobe, cerebral cortex, doesn't have the ability to fully process information in a way that above the age of 25 you might be able to do. And who is this music targeted at? Again, youngsters between the age of 14 and 25. And if you look at the crime rate, the murder rate, the ones committing these atrocious acts are people between that age group. So is there something here? I believe so, but I wouldn't present that to you as fact. These are theories which have some support.
Whilst researching this, I found two main differences in schools of thought: the pro-432 movement and the anti-440 movement. On one side, there's belief among some that 432 is more in harmony with the universe. In playing 432, C is close to 256, a frequency very connected to 8 Hz, which is called the heartbeat of the Earth, better known as Schumann resonance. There are peaks in extremely low frequency of the electromagnetic field of the Earth and resonate roughly at 7.83 Hz. Also, it's said that 432 resonates with the universe's golden mean, pi, and unifies the properties of light, time, space, matter, gravity, and magnetism with biology, DNA code, and consciousness. Studies have shown that 432 musical therapy helps ease anxiety, bring down heart rate and blood pressure, and generally has a soothing effect. Also, 432 has a very positive effect on the third eye chakra and even can heal DNA. Probably true. The other side is pretty dark and covered up with some Illuminati conspiracy thoughts. Having read it a lot, I can summarize it as follows. The Nazis had their say in the matter, of course. Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's propaganda man, supposedly pushed the internationalization of 440 in 1939 to untune people and cloud their intuition. If you dig deeper, you find out that Illuminati is probably involved as well. They supposedly sponsored Goebbels to promote the adoption of 440 standard. The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, everyone is involved.
So, having said all this, there is also the fact that our women are being used as a mean of degradation as well. Their music doesn't promote nothing but hoish behaviors, proud to be sluts. A couple years ago, the most popular song was WAP. You know what that stands for. I mean, you didn't have enough creativity to come up with something else. You could talk about that, but do it in a way that's a little more subdued. We don't have to subject our children to this. So our men or our boys are influenced by the idea of being killers, and our young girls are influenced by the idea and the glorification of being hoes. Is there a connection here? I strongly suggest that there is. I'll say this, the idea that frequency is being used to interrupt our natural nature is not a foreign concept. If you've ever walked into a room and the energy was off, you would say things like, the tension is here so thick I could cut it with a knife. That's because the electric magnetic field in that room has shifted to a frequency that doesn't align with you. We've all have experienced that, so there is some truth to this. How much of it is propaganda or an agenda, I don't know. But I do know, as creatures, we do feel the electricity around us, and sometimes it's pleasant and sometimes it's not, and innately you could feel the difference. To me, the idea that there are gatekeepers funneling this stuff through, propelling drill music, those who are talking about killing and drug dealing and all sorts of criminal activity, making that the thing to do, making that popular, making that the thing our young boys might look to, is credible. On the women's side, I haven't seen a modern day MC Lyte. I haven't seen a modern day Queen Latifah. I'm sure they exist, but where are they? They aren't being presented to us because their messaging is not aligned with the agenda. So, again, conspiracy theories are fun to examine. I love them. I partake in watching these things myself, though I say I take them with a grain of salt. But I believe there's enough evidence here to seriously consider that this is what is happening. And you don't have to agree, of course. Agree to disagree. And if you are part of the younger generation, you might take this message as a slap to your group of people, a sort of disrespect to you guys, but it's not meant to be that way. This is an examination, a conversation I'm having mainly with folks of my particular age group. If you happen to be a youngster watching this, then maybe you might consider that you are being programmed and the agendas that the elites have for you, you are falling right into it. But that's just me and my thoughts. Opinion is like an asshole. Everybody has one. This is mine. You may have yours, which you're entitled to. But what do you guys think? Am I on the right road here? Is there enough evidence to suggest that what I'm saying has a leg to stand on? Or is this another conspiracy theory that could be easily dismissed? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll be sure to respond to them. Thank you for tuning in one more time.